welcome. My co-host is very upset.
Coming to you live from my IRL feelings about ACOMAF.
Welcome to another episode of our Kinky Kindles. Y'all are lucky. Once again, our special guest H is here to join us.
No.
Oh my gosh.
You're welcome, everyone.
Okay, y'all. 2 things I want to tell you. Number one, we do not have notes because this book is 700 fucking pages long.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine?
You're welcome again.
Can you imagine how long we'd be recording if I had notes for everything that I liked about this book?
Oh my god.
Number 2, A did just finish reading it literally 2 minutes before we hit record. And she is not okay.
I am still processing. This is genuinely like a live react of my brain like processing this information. For the listeners, I listen to a lot of Audible. I also double dip. I like to have multiple forms of whatever I'm reading. And so I listened to this on Audible on 3 times speed.
Jesus Christ.
Which is not insane.
It's insane.
So that's a completely regular person thing to do.
No.
And I know all of our listeners can agree that that's normal. But yes, so I was like listening to it very quickly. And I literally picked up, it was like chapter 63 when Lucian and Tamlin walk in. And so I just like, while y'all have been setting up the podcast equipment, this is for our listeners. This is a peek behind the curtain of our real world. While they were setting everything up, I was upstairs like trying to make sense of it all. My God. Nesta and Elaine. We've got to go in order. We've got to go.
Okay,
There's got to be order and decency here.
Okay.
Okay, you know, we'll skip we'll skip the small talk. Look, here's the deal about the chatting for this week. We're not okay, you guys. Like,
Yeah. We're really, that's all you need to know.
we have nothing good to report.
We really don't.
So
we're closer to our vacation
That's
than
right.
we were
The sun
last
is
time
out.
I was here.
Yeah.
That's all.
yeah, we're going to the beach in a
To
week,
say.
and that's the only thing that we have to look forward to in life.
It's bleak. It's bleak up
It's
here.
not looking good.
It's almost cancer season.
Yes. I'm about to be thriving.
Thank God.
So we just got through a Gemini new moon.
New moon in Gemini.
And that means biopsychosocial wise, what is that? What is the impact upon?
Well, new moons are all about manifesting the next things that you want. And so for every moon cycle, like leading up to the new moon is a time of purging and getting rid of old shit that's not working for you anymore, which is what we've been in the thick of this week. All the shit just bubbling right up to the surface.
As if it were in a cauldron. Just a bubbling. As if it were
A
Beauty and the
physical
Beast bathtub. Tromping along.
Look, we all have different visions of what this fucking cauldron looks like. But yeah, okay, so that's the Gemini new moon. It just is all bubbling up so it can be purged out. Yeah, so
that's with every new moon. So special
beautiful.
for Gemini is this is purely a thing I saw on the internet. I can't validate this, but someone
you've cited your source.
that I
It's the
saw
internet.
on the internet said specifically for the new moon in Gemini, it's like definitely don't fuck around unless you're ready to find out.
Let me tell you, we've been finding out.
We've been finding out
thrice over. All three of us have been both fucking around and
finding out.
Unfortunately, in this economy,
It's expensive.
the audacity. $400 at Lulu's, actually. That's what happened.
An increase in my anxiety medicine.
And in my ADHD meds.
Oh God.
You know, y'all.
It's all fine.
We're just fucking around and finding out. Y'all just gather from this what you will. This is just read between the lines of our lives, and whatever you're thinking is probably right.
Yep.
Honestly,
Sure.
God. Okay, but yeah, so that's our recap of our weeks.
Yeah. 5 minutes.
nothing
That
else
is
to
speedy for y'all. For y'all skippers who want to skip past the adorable chatting that we do.
Yeah, this has been our adorable chatting. You're welcome.
Goodbye.
It's not casual. It's not cute.
Okay.
But we love y'all.
All right. So because we don't have notes for this episode, I tried to pull some like the most important parts of this book. Now, I do know that A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, the whole series is very important to very many people. Mm-hmm. We are not going to cover every single thing that happens in this book.
We simply cannot.
We can't.
Thank God, honestly.
Do you want us to? Well,
If
no.
we skip over your very most favorite part, I'm so sorry. Email us about it, and I would love to talk to you about it.
Yes,
'Cause-
maybe we can even do a section later in another podski, like where we recap. Maybe when
It's
we
like,
do,
hey, you forgot about this part, and
we have thoughts about that part. Whatever part you're thinking, we have thoughts. We just can't
it's
do it
not
all.
feasible to go through.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure what I listed is in order, but if it's not, I apologize. I'm doing this
this is in
purely
order.
from my memory of the book.
Oh God.
And so we're going to be working off a little shared document
Perfect.
going through here. So the first thing I pulled was the tithe. I pulled that because it made me so very angry.
So, so we're just going to be fucking around. We're going to be jumping around on this. So, the tithe, yes, that made me so angry. It made me angry initially. I was like, this seems a little fucked up.
Yeah.
Got a little more angry. Once later on, was it Amryn was like, there's no tithe.
Why would we do that?
We don't do that.
That's not okay. We wouldn't do a tithe.
And then she's like, it makes sense that Tamlin would, though.
Ooh, the shade.
And Tamlin's like, we must. Like, this is non-negotiable.
It's tradition.
We have to do
Yeah,
this. No, we don't.
Exactly. Even when he was talking about it, it wasn't for any he wasn't able to justify like the benefits of it. It was giving like
It's like
Kind of vague.
just because I said so.
it's giving boomer disciplinarian is
Yeah.
what it's giving.
giving
Like,
boomer
no,
disciplinarian.
this is what we do, and we're gonna do it, and it doesn't matter if it hurts you or if it doesn't make a tangible difference or positive impact on anybody.
yeah.
we're doing it on principle.
Yeah.
And
They should have worked
I'm
harder.
gonna lash you if you don't. Like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, pretty,
Yeah, it's very like
Like, they
you know,
should just pay. They should just pay up.
that scene from Emperor's New Groove where Yzma's like, it's no concern of mine whether or not you have what was it again? Food. Exactly.
should have thought of
direct
that
quote.
before you became a peasant.
That's right. Shouldn't be poor.
It's Marie Antoinette. It's let them eat cake. It's bullshit. But I loved that. So like getting back into this after reading ACOTAR, it took me a minute. But then when Farah was like, no, to the Wraiths was like, here, take
Take my
this.
jewelry. I
To
never
these-
wear the same thing twice. Like,
Yeah, to these scary ass. She's like, no, like I viscerally remember what it feels like to not be able to like feed my family and do the things. And so here, I'm gonna, a little social justice moment there. I was like, oh. And you know what? It came back to
Well, because she knows
sure
what it's
did.
like to be poor and to be starving. And she's like, I can't believe that he would let people just suffer like this when he knows that I suffered this way.
I
well,
thought it was also
that's
very directly like the same social messages that we get currently about like, oh, well, you can't like give a panhandler money because they're probably just going to use
Spend
it on drugs
yeah.
or whatever. Like very, very similar language.
was that intentional? Did Sarah J. Maas, like, was this a real...
I swear when I read it, I was
Political-
like, Tamlin's a Republican.
Yeah.
I was so turned off by that. I was like, this is...
Yeah.
And his rigidity, like, to those, like, without reason. Like, and even just hearing it, even assuming that he was telling the truth, that the tithe was necessary and that every kingdom did it, sure, okay. It's still, like, you should make exceptions based on... Yeah.
Well, just no social safety net.
Yeah.
Even if you can provide one, it's like, well, you should have thought of that before you were poor.
Sucks, dude. Sorry you're
Sucks
poor.
to suck. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I live
It
in this
must
big
suck
giant
to be-
house.
Republican.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we've covered that.
we
Yeah.
didn't like that one.
We didn't.
We did not.
0 out of 10.
Tithe? No.
Bad. And that's not
Negative.
even because of the religious trauma. That's purely
Yeah.
just
No.
in this context.
Although hearing the word tithe, I was like,
It's
well,
like,
fuck that.
Oh,
But-
10% of my income to go to the church that's hurting me? Okay.
Yeah, it was a bad vibe moment all around. I love that it circled back. I love a like call back from some, you know, minor thing that goes on in a book. I love then when it gets called back later on.
I didn't see that one coming either.
No,
and it was
me
a little
neither.
bit like you could kind of tell when the first thing happened with the race. So it was like, okay, this is going to be a plot device.
Well, yeah, she
like I
said
get it.
Yes.
But-
We'll never forget this or whatever.
Yeah, but
my
of course
sisters.
that was fucking hundreds of pages, and then they
Underwater.
were yeah,
And then it was like,
Of
oh,
course.
surprise.
and then they were almost drowned. That was high
In
key.
another
That was
kingdom.
stressful. When
Yeah.
The summer court is a whole.
It's especially
section.
stressful on 3 times speed, let me tell you.
Jesus
No.
Christ, I
I don't know how you.
Why?
it-
ADHD.
I can't think about
Like,
that
people
for too
executive
long.
Talking really fast, like in that way, is so scary to me.
That's my inner dialogue at all times, except there's like 3 or 4 of those 3 times speeds.
I just can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm in.
I don't even know how you process the information.
Who said I process it? just intake. Just intake. No, yeah, it worked. But yes, that was really freaky. We're just going to have to jump around this plot. Like, this plot
Oh,
is
yeah.
not going to be streamlined.
It's so much plot.
There's so much plot. There's so much information.
Yeah, this is going to be wrong holes, because
Well, no, we have some.
85% of this book is wrong holes. Like,
A
You don't-
solid
It's true.
85.
you don't get any spice until the very end.
until the considerable length of him starts coming in. If I one
the
more
considerable.
time
no.
hear his dick described as a considerable length of all the words in our language to use.
He is the most beautiful man she's ever seen.
Well,
Sure.
also I. The most beautiful that my imagination has ever seen.
Very true.
My goodness.
All right, so the next thing I have is Tamlin and Ianthe, like pre-wedding, so leading up to the wedding.
Ianthe, I want to rewind
That fucking bitch.
to
That
thinking that,
bitch.
and was it an Akatar too, where I was like, oh, Ianthe's a friend.
They were
Ianthe's
friends.
a pal. Like, we could trust
Like,
Ianthe.
like a
Remember that?
girlfriend.
Remember that time when we thought we
girlies.
could trust this girlfriend? And then she turned out to be... she turned out to be a little, you know,
A
snake in the
monster?
grass. Just, I don't
Interesting.
know. We've never...
I've never experienced that.
No.
So
I'm sure none of the girlies listening ever have either.
it's a unique experience just to Feyre.
Yeah, just a Feyre. I love when they call back to that too later on. They're like, something about a priestess, and she's like, but I hope they're better than the other priestess I know. So it's like, yeah, okay. We're bitter.
She's holding a grudge. I mean, she does
should.
some pretty fucked up shit to Ianthe.
Well, then
Is that
Ianthe
this
and...
Okay, sorry. Future, she
Good.
gets some revenge.
We look forward
and it's
to
not
it.
pretty.
Lately, we've been dressing for revenge.
On my vigilante shit again.
Okay, so that's 2 references. We'll
That's
see.
got to just count as one reference. That
It's the
can't be
same
2
song.
separate references.
It's the same song.
Well, but 2 people
Come
said
on.
it.
Math. At the same time.
We're
though.
riffing.
It's a riff. Just
I'm
one
going to count that as
reference.
2.
Oh my god.
2
For those of
Taylor
you
Swift
keeping score at
references.
home.
All right.
If this was a drinking game, we want people to get as many shots as possible.
Oh.
That's all of us said in a pod ski
Okay.
drinking game. I like to listen to podcasts when I drink.
Do you?
Nobody does that.
It's like nothing like winding down with a good podcast.
No. Okay, that's not the point. Tamlin and Ianthe pre-wedding.
Pre-wedding, correct. Yeah, so in the preparations for the wedding, in which no one is listening to what Feyre wants or cares about for the wedding,
Even her fucking dress.
even down to the dress that she hates.
Well, it was hideous, and Reese hated it
did
too.
seem
So
really
take that hideous
awful.
dress.
Yeah, it seemed awful.
Yeah.
We've all had a marriage ceremony. What was our stance on our dresses? How did we feel about them? Were we forced by an ugly priestess to wear the dress that we wore?
I actually loved my dress.
You loved your dress. Yours was happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
I just pulled up stories. This is your wedding anniversary.
It is.
Today?
It is my 7-year wedding anniversary.
Oh my god.
Adorable.
Congrats.
So I got to
Thank
see a
you.
little picture of your dress this morning.
Yes.
Adorbs.
It's on Instagram.
Little mermaid
Story.
moment.
Cute. Oh, mermaid moment.
Beautiful lace.
Classic.
Precious.
Beautiful.
H, how'd you feel about your wedding dress?
I purchased a wedding dress on the internet because I was finishing my senior year of undergrad
Same.
and didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I ordered it in the wrong size.
Yeah, relatable.
Oh no.
Didn't return it. Purchased another one in the next size.
Sure.
And that was that.
It
was
worked.
like $135.
Beautiful.
Oh my God. Yeah, mine
It was okay.
was fine.
It was fine.
Your pictures are really cute.
Thanks. It's hard not to be cute when you're 22. Like,
Yeah, you're just
would I do
cute
the same thing
existing.
now? No, not
Sure,
at all.
sure.
That's
Well,
why
we
we're gonna
got- we
have
got-
our 10-year. Y'all know.
It's gonna be
Y'all
really
related.
fun. You're gonna get the dress of your dreams.
Yeah.
Mine was like, not much more expensive than that at David's Bridal, and I loved it. But then I had some people in my life telling me to wear a shit ton of petticoats, and so then I didn't like it. I had some ianthes.
You wore petticoats under your wedding dress?
So yes, so I wanted it to just be like a
Is this
gentle
1925?
A-line. I
Yeah,
know, but then they're like, no, you need it to be ball gown. You need it to be. So my dress ended up being. I've got several wedding pictures in here, but it ended up being much fuller than I wanted it to be.
Oh, well, that's what happens when you put a bunch of layers on.
I know, but I was a child and didn't know how to tell folks.
Well, it looks beautiful, but it's not what you wanted.
No, it's
That's
not
the
what I
whole
wanted.
thing.
That's all I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I can identify with Feyre.
Yeah.
This, goddess. I identify. Just need to find common ground.
I mean, yeah, it's easy to identify with someone who's like forcing their opinions onto your wedding that is like not supposed to be involved in any way.
People, maybe just keep your opinions.
All right, now the wedding scene.
Thoughts?
Well, just like what I thought that SJM did a great job really like putting us in that moment. Like Pharaoh was
Beautiful.
clearly having a panic attack. Good old Panini.
Yeah.
And
Minty B.
a little Minty bee right there, and it was very. I was just right there with her.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very
I thought that
vivid.
it was like this is exactly how this would feel.
The thoughts racing, the heart racing. Yeah.
I just thought it was super relatable, and also it was very interesting to feel how like obvious and clear it was, and then to like put that side by side with like Tamlin doesn't care, like Lucian's not stepping in, like nobody is, like it just.
They saw her clearly distressed.
Yeah.
And they kind of talk about that at the end, finally, when everybody has their big confrontation. And I love Feyre finally, like, talking her shit about it, because that's what Reese was trying to tell her all along. Of like, I could see how sick and unsafe and not okay you
No.
were.
Yeah.
And like,
Thin and pale.
we had to do
and-
something about it. And
Yeah.
she was just like desperately crying for help. And nobody helped her except for Reese.
Yes, I love like when
That's the turntables.
Reese I think takes her away for the first like week for the bargain or whatever. And he like shades Tamlin and is like, "Are you running low on food? Like why is she so skinny? You all need some help.
She
you
seems
need money.
kind of miserable.
Y'all
Do you
low on
need
food or
money?
what? Like what's going on? Like you should know."
Reese is everything.
And the fact that Feyre's getting up in the middle of the night and vomiting her guts out, and Tamlin's not doing anything about it.
Well, and it's like, it's just
There's no way you don't hear her puking in the
endlessly
bathroom.
selfish. Well, and I think they addressed that at some point. Like, he's having nightmares too, but like all the more reason
I don't
to
care.
have empathy and kindness to.
I did appreciate the we're in a like. No, I don't think they're bad people, right?
Sure.
I don't think Tamlin's a bad person. I think that everybody does the best that they can with what they've got.
The trauma.
And so I appreciated the framework of like Tamlin got his shit fucked up at the end of the first book too. And it had his shit fucked up for some time prior to that.
Sure.
But I thought that we didn't.
So
we
did
don't
Reese.
we don't have to make excuses for him, but like, I found the paradox that I like in the way that Pharaoh was thinking about
Yes.
Tamlin throughout. Of like, he did see some dark shit and he
Yes.
was broken too, and that doesn't mean that I have to stay with him.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean that like we need to be together. It doesn't mean that this
Beautiful.
is safe or healthy anymore. Like, I have space to let him have his experience, but I'm also not required to
100%.
Yeah. And I think
participate
she
in
has that realization later on where she's like, Tamlin was what I needed then.
Yeah.
I don't need that
Yep.
anymore. I don't
Yep.
need a protector. I don't need someone to fund me or take care of my family.
Get me through this.
That's, I'm changed. I've evolved into a different person, and that's okay.
More powerful
I'm
than
done
he.
with that.
You
part of
don't
my
need to
life.
save me, but would you run away with me?
Exactly.
Is that another shot?
You
What's
don't
that?
need to
Is
save
that-
me,
huh?
That's
But would you run away with me?
I, 3. Okay.
Yeah, I have another one because
by all means.
the whole wedding scene is Taylor is an ACOTAR girly.
Is she really?
Yes, she is.
This is some Taylor shit.
And I am
All day.
convinced that she wrote High Infidelity about them. Dragged my feet right down the aisle. Good husband, but a bad omen.
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna have to listen to that differently now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta do a re-listen. Yeah, I could see it being.
Your picket fence is sharp as knives.
Ooh, yeah, literally. Okay, Tamlin is super shitty. I did appreciate Feyre's viewpoint, and I highlighted it somewhere, of the paradox of like, she doesn't just. I'm curious now in this next book if she really has mercy upon Tamlin, or is just like truly the fox in the chicken coop that Lucian says that she is, but. Or we kind of see a little glimpse in the the part of the chapter that I listened to 30 minutes ago. But yeah, I appreciated her viewpoint of like, I loved him, and we are no longer serving each other. This is no longer healthy. This is no longer helping.
Yeah.
It's a both and.
Yep. Because he has
What is
And
it
there's
that
an
Reese
accountability
says?
piece too.
It's not whether or not he loved you, but it's how much. Too much.
Yes.
Love is a poison. Love can
is
be
poison.
Love can be a poison.
Yes, love can be a poison. It can't. Well, and you could debate, is that love if it's selfish,
Right. That's what, like,
and self-serving.
especially when. Well, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, the whole
But
trapped in the house vibe.
We get
I
our
resonated with.
first hello, Feyre darling, at the wedding. Hey. You all don't know how wide my grin was.
I need to read it again
When-
now, knowing like that
telling you.
he saw that from the perspective, right, of already knowing she was his mate. Mm-hmm. Because
Yes.
he saw her
He knew.
painting. He saw her.
Well, he knew for sure at the end of the last book when they met on the hill.
Yeah.
And then he like kind of steps back when he's winnowing, and you can see the look on his face. Like that's when it snapped
yes.
for him, and he knew the whole.
So he knew. So when he's seeing her, and she's like, "Help! Someone help!" And he says, "Hello, favorite darling." Like he was like, "I'm gonna come in here and like rescue my mate." Like,
Oh my god.
but this is an empowering rescue.
He was
Like,
gonna let her be with him.
yes. This is consensual. This is an empowerment, not a like. Tamlin is going about the rescue in a completely different way. Like, don't fucking women don't need to be rescued.
Yeah, well,
They need
she
to
doesn't
be
have
supported
any
and empowered.
agent. She's an object, not a subject. When Tamlin tries to rescue her, like
Yes.
he's gonna pluck her and place her and like set her. You know what I mean?
And he's just reliving his own trauma. He's trying to do for her what he could not do for his family. He's trying to make her. I mean, the parallels in my own life story are alarming, but it's trauma. We get it.
Yeah. Well, and Tamlin doesn't want a partner. He doesn't want an equal. He wants a good little wife
Yes.
that will sit beside him
And not ask questions.
and be pretty. And that is
And
not.
plan parties.
And maybe that's right for some people. That's not right for Feyre. She asked him,
Beautiful.
"I would like to be your high lady or your queen or whatever," and he said no.
What is my role? What is my title?
Yeah,
I
he's
remember
like,
that.
You're like it's basically a consort.
Ooh, but that's not how Reese.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, he had a different approach to the whole partnership thing.
I think I want to shout out while we're still talking about this that like people's needs can change over time.
Beautiful.
And like Feyre needed some burnout recovery. That was what her time at Tamlin's was initially, when she like didn't have enough like self-possession to like, she didn't have any capacity for anything but like resting and
She was just
recharging
barely getting
and,
through the
like,
day. Yeah.
like physically like being safe and like being healthy and
Yes.
you know, fucking therapists like 85% what of wellness is like, are you sleeping? Are you drinking water? Are you eating? Are you like moving
It's
your
bottom
body
of the
in a way that
pyramid.
feels good of you?
Do you feel safe?
She just had to get the bottom of her pyramid in order.
But Tamlin wanted to keep her at the bottom of the
Yeah.
pyramid
He
and
didn't want
never
her-
let her move.
Yeah. Unless
Yeah.
which I guess is just like a simple like, I just need like a nice pretty wife, because like, well, why can't you be content with your, I've got you all the paints that you could ever want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why would you need anything besides these like basic creature comforts
No
that
wonder
I've
she
given
stopped
you?
hating painting for so long.
Yeah.
And then Reese brought it back. Oh, God. She
know,
started
I've
feeling
seen-
inspired again. It was so good.
I've seen so many memes of like, it's like Feyre obviously very traumatized from under the mountain, and it's like a picture of a creepy guy with some paints, and it's like, would you like these?
And it's so infantilizing too.
It's like, I don't want to paint fucking pictures. I'm
I'm trying to process the
trying
hell
to
I
live.
just.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting, but at the time she needed to get grounded, recalibrate. She'd just been through a horrible trauma, and then she was, she's slowly realizing she has powers, and like she's being locked in a house, and then her needs changed. Yeah, the pyramid we're discussing is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We've referenced this before on the Podsky, and I assume a lot of folks understand this. But like Reese empowered her to move all the way through.
Yep.
Like let me.
Let me teach you how to read.
Oh,
Wouldn't you like to know how to read?
yeah, that was hot.
Yeah.
Reese former educator.
is the most beautiful High Lord.
He's a literacy champion. Like let's
I would love to
empower.
learn how to read
Knowledge
that
is
one.
power. Like if you can't fucking read, God, so good.
So good.
Okay.
And then when Reese takes her back, he's like, take that fucking hideous dress off. It's terrible.
Like side note for Sarah J. Maas, like this is I love the description she gives of all the outfits.
Yeah.
Like because I
The
can
night court
imagine
fashion is so good.
Yes, like that's what I want. Like I want. Please describe in great detail what the character is wearing, especially if this is a fantasy realm. Like I need details. Like how
For sure.
how does it fit? What's going on? It's so sweet. But yes,
I like it.
Reese was like, "That's gross. Please take that off."
Yeah, and I don't know if Feyre knows like how much he like can hear her thoughts. Like obviously she knows that some, but like the whole time he can hear, like he knows that she hates
Yeah.
the dress because he can hear everything through the bond. Not just the bargain bond, but the mating bond. Okay. We'll move on to what I like to call the no good, very bad thing, which is Tamlin post-wedding. He turns into a very controlling, scary monster.
Scary.
Yeah, 0 out of 10.
Some IPV vibes in here.
That
Threat
was-
of violence is just as impactful to safety as physical violence.
And it can sometimes be just as controlling
Yeah.
and it's a very effective what is that study, the police surveillance, like surveillance culture, like this idea that like, oh, this could happen is just as terrifying.
Yeah. Well, from like a reinforcement perspective, like it's inconsistent reinforcement. That's
Intermittent, yes,
intermittent
that's the most
reinforcement.
effective
Yeah.
way, because you never know when the other
You
shoe's
don't know
going to
when
drop.
to predict.
This is where folks who have experienced trauma can traumatize others, and perhaps then at some point there's some accountability that needs to happen of maybe stop.
Yeah, Tamlin has some pretty strong like domestic abuser vibes. Even in the third book, which you all haven't read yet, there's some stuff that happens. She's going back to the Supreme Court. There's some stuff that happens where it's like, oh, if you were to stay here, you would not be alive. Like this is not safe for you.
Well, and then
Obviously Reese would never let her. He would not let it happen. Clearly,
he can
Yeah.
still.
Oh, thank God. I really was very upset because I liked Lucian so much in the first book.
Yes.
And then for him, it was just very stereotypical of like, you don't even know how sorry he is and how much he regrets, and it all got out of hand, and
Yeah,
it was
a
just
little
like classic
slimy.
enabling of that exact like power and control dynamic that you always hear in the real world.
And you
of, like,
become part of the problem.
yeah,
Like,
and I hate that
you
because
can't play middle ground when it comes to folks' safety and violence. Like, you can't try to be Switzerland in that. Like, if you are not actively siding with the person who needs to be empowered and supported, then you are part of the problem. That's a broad sweeping statement. What would you say when your work
some
with
quote about like neutrality is automatically choosing the side of the oppressor. Like, if you're not actively working to advocate on behalf of like the lower end of the power spectrum, then like you're automatically just reinforcing
And this is
the status quo.
macro on the macro level and the micro level. Like, this is like an intimate, this is just three folks, but like that dynamic is very much at play.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like Feyre is doing her best to communicate her needs. She's begging, I would like to go out with you to
Anywhere, walk with me.
I would like to not be alone.
Yeah.
Here's what I need.
It's making the isolation makes PTSD so much worse.
So much
Like,
worse.
it's only going to exacerbate her symptoms.
And Tamlin is saying, no, here's what you need. And she's like, no, I'm trying to tell you, I know what I need. And you're not listening to what I need.
You're telling me I need paints
You're telling me I need to paint some pretty
and some
pictures.
parties and some dresses
And
Fuck
be a
you.
very good wife.
Ugh.
Yeah, it resonated. It resonated with, I think, a lot of readers. Yeah. But yeah, you labeled it the no good, very bad thing trademark.
The no good, very bad thing, TM, is obviously Tamlin literally locking her into the house. And Lucien just standing outside of the barrier and shouting at her and being like, it's okay. No, it's not.
I hated it.
I'm hopeful that Lucien will turn around. Like, is he gonna? I know no spoilers, but like,
I hope there's a growth arc for
Okay.
Lucien,
Y'all read the end of the book,
like
right?
he's
Lucien
he's got a mating bond with
with
Elaine.
Oh, yeah, with
So, like,
Elaine.
with precious Elaine. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for that too. There were several like upsetting scenes, but I was very upset when Lucien found Feyre. And when she was like running
in
through
the
her,
woods.
in the woods, and she was running through her thought process of like, okay, if he gets a hand
If he
on
touches me, yeah.
and she was like watching him
Yeah.
treat her like she was a prey,
Yeah.
while he was like saying all this stuff about like, I'm here to protect you, like I'm here. It was so contradictory, and it was really uncomfortable,
Really scary
to read.
You can
Like,
trust me. You can
Then
trust
she grew
me.
those fucking wings, and she said,
Ooh.
don't touch me.
Fuck you.
Perhaps
that
she
was
didn't need to be
amazing.
rescued.
Ha-ha.
Perhaps she just needed to be empowered. I don't know. It's a hot take that I carry through life. I'm like, maybe the girlies don't need someone to just come in and rescue them all the time. Maybe empowerment, is kind of what's important. But
Yeah, and that's what I love so much about Reese is like, no, we're gonna learn how to use your powers. And I don't know if it's this book or the next one where he's threatening someone and he's saying like you'll be ripped apart to pieces, and then when Feyre's done with you, I'll bury the bones or whatever. And
That
so,
was this one.
Yeah.
I thought that was so. It's just a really like heavy themes in this book.
Truly.
Like Feyre was so entrenched so quickly because of her like traumatized ass state that like to hear Reese provide a counterpoint to this like all these lines that she had been fed from Tamlin and from everyone at the Spring Court of like, no, this makes sense. Like, we have to keep you hidden. We have to like do all this stuff. And of course she was like, yeah, I guess so. I guess that's what we
Yeah,
do.
I guess we
What
have
else
to.
am I going to do?
what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Y'all-
And then Reese was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, here's
Yeah,
why this is a big deal.
here's the real
like,
you're actually more powerful
Yeah.
than any of them, and they're abusing
And I
that.
think
Yeah.
that's what really happens, like in my work with
That's
DV
what happened with me.
survivors
Yeah.
and other people who have those kinds of like power plays involved in their relationships. It's like you're so in it that it like there is no other reality. Like
We
there
call
are no
it
other
gaslighting
options.
in the biz.
Yeah.
Because when options are stripped away from you, then you just it's survival kicks in, and you take whatever is the quickest route to being okay. And to have that voice of somebody who believes in you, who can snatch you away for a week, a month, and then like speak the actual truth, but then in a consensual way, like I'm sure we get to that at some point, but just the way that he's like he's empowering her. He's not repeating the trauma by like, no, now it's not like a tug of war. I don't know how to articulate this, but it's not like Reese is like, no, come be with me, and Tamlin's like, no, come be over here. It's like, no, Reese is like, here are some resources.
Here's your other option.
Yeah, and you may choose which you'd like to go with.
You chose today, you chose yesterday, you choose every day.
Yeah.
Period.
I think the first week that she was there at the night court, he just left. Tamlin
Yes.
could never.
No,
Tamlin
Tamlin
could
had to be in
never just
control.
like leave her alone.
Yeah.
Even if it was like be in the manor, like do your paints, what like he's so
it's surveillance, and but that was his. That had nothing to do with Farrah. That had nothing to do with
None
her.
of this has to do with Farrah.
No, it's about him. And so, but over time, when you're in that kind of environment, you receive the message that you're the problem, and that if you would just change, then the abuser would change. If you were just better, if you were just more compliant and whatnot. But Reese provided some really strong evidence to the contrary.
And I think the whole time Tamlin knew how powerful Feyre had become.
Yes, and it terrified him.
Yes, and instead of teaching her how to harness and control all this power, he was like, no, we're gonna put a damper on it and just let it grow and grow and build until you just explode because you don't know how to handle all this power. No one ever taught you. Interesting.
It's my life. But yeah, it's not helpful for anyone. It's short-sighted and foolish, honestly, to have like she could. If you don't train her how to use her powers, she could do so much damage. She needs to be
she
equipped.
put up that wall of wind around herself when she was trapped in the house, and like more had to like try to fight through it to get to her.
Yeah. It's unsafe for everyone. It's just it's selfish and short-sighted, and that's what trauma does.
Yes.
Because we're not acting from logic. We're acting based on traumatized parts of us.
Yes, and they had to send more to get her because of all the rules of High Lord rules. Is it like if he had taken away a High Lord's bride, he could have been like killed for treason
immediately.
So like they had to send more in to take her, and
we'll get more, but
love her.
Oh my god, more. Is there a full book about more?
I hope so,
because I would read that shit. So I was seriously in love with more. Yeah, so good. Valaris.
Yes,
I have something to say about Valaris. So remember that time whenever we went to Asheville, and I would just stroll around and absorb the beautiful architecture, and I just would weep. Just wept at the beauty of it all.
Of all the buildings.
I was getting real, like, weeping at the beauty of it all with Valaris. I was like, I want to move to this. Like, it was just magical.
The rainbow.
Yes.
Feyre Archeron, defender of the rainbow.
Oh, my God. Sarah J. Maas paints a lot of beautiful pictures for all these different locations. Like, I mean, all of them are beautiful, but Valaris felt super special.
Yes. God, I love Valaris.
It felt very European to me.
Yes.
Very like Mediterranean almost.
That was
I'm
the vibe.
imagining
It's on the water.
like like Greece, and like it's all like
everybody's relaxed.
Yeah.
And just
everyone's chill.
the class lines are blurred and everyone's just hanging together.
And she, like, that time when she hears like children laughing outside,
And the
she's
songs.
like, there are people laughing and like kids are playing in the streets.
Well, in her human realm, it was just not her mortal realm was not at all that.
Well, even in the spring court, like there was no one around the manor. It was just the manor, and then
just fear.
I'm assuming the village was just like really far away.
It seemed far. They always had to travel to get there.
Yeah, it was
But-
nothing to write home about.
In the city of Starlight, it's right by Reese's house.
Because he wants to live with his people.
Yes.
Reese, man of the people.
Because he's protected. Yeah, there's some real
High Lord of
political.
the people.
High Lord of the. Yes.
And when he walks the streets, like people say hi to him, and he like knows people by name and eating it up.
I know.
High Lord of our hearts.
High Lord of our hearts.
I love him so much.
Yeah, Laris was really magical.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, nobody saw Kay scooping like that
this
when
is
she
not a
said that just
visual-
now.
Gobbling up.
But that is exactly how I felt reading once Reese finally was like telling Feyre the whole story. It was like pages and pages
That
of him
was
like
so
retelling.
good.
I was just gobbling.
It's
it
like
up.
35 minutes of the audio book of him
So-
just talking.
So good.
I read
Ate that shit up. Yeah.
So I was like, because she was making the. Are you talking about when she makes the
Make
food?
that
Oh
soup.
my god, so good.
When
so,
I text you, it was like the feminism leaving my body to make soup for my man.
but still wildly feminist in that she was like, you tell me and I'll decide if I'm gonna give you
I'm
this
gonna give you-
soup.
I'm gonna make the soup, whether you're invited to eat it.
Is
We'll
up for
find out.
debate. Exactly.
We'll see.
Well, so then, yeah, I was listening to it really quickly, and then I was like, oh shit, I want to like read this because I want to absorb this because this is the story. And so I switched to my Kindle, and I was like, fixing to hop into the shower after my workout. I'm just standing there, just reading this.
So good.
It was brilliant. God.
There's
Reese.
so many good details in that story, and just like how the wings like never came out until he knows with Feyre. And H also texted me the moment she got to the part about wing play.
The wing play, yes. He's never let anyone else. What did you say when
I
you
think
texted?
I just said, not his wings.
Not his wings.
Oh, you said not his wings, and I was like, this could mean so many things. And you should be more specific.
I really have just been texting you just unhinged random thoughts with no context. And you know,
Oh, I
it's
knew.
for the girlies.
It's
She's
just-
always right there with me.
Yeah, she's like, I know exactly what you're referencing. Oh my
I know exactly when he puts his freaking nose and breathes under her ear. He's like, it feels like
It
this.
feels like that. And then
I was like, I know
everything in
exactly what
her-
that feels like. Oh my.
No, I was driving and I was like, oh god.
I know, like panting.
I felt it too. So
Delicious.
good. Yeah, so in terms of smut and foreplay, this whole book is foreplay
It's
until the
foreplay
last
whole damn time.
until the last, like, you know, I mean,
Recent is the most amazing lover any woman could have.
yeah. She's teaching her to read. Right?
I love it.
Adorable.
The next thing I have is the inner circle. So that's more Amryn, Cassian, Azriel, Reese, and now Feyre.
This is all I want. Like what am I trying to say? New Girl, Friends. Like we've got all these shows with the inner circle, with all these like fun dynamics. This is everything. This is so much better. Like they're each independent characters, but their stories interweave in ways that like you find out throughout the book. Masterful storytelling. Also setting it up really beautifully for additional books about these characters because
absolutely.
I want to know more. I know just enough about Cassian, just enough Azriel. Oh my god. I know just enough about everyone that I'm like, oh god, I need more information.
And I am obsessed that Reese picked Amryn as his second, and then Moore as his third.
Hell yeah.
Cassian and Azriel, you're just here for a good time.
Yeah, y'all are here to fight.
leadership.
Yeah.
It's as if he knows.
Like he could have picked anyone in the
that
world,
they're-
and he's like, no, I'm picking Amryn because she's scary.
She is scary.
Cameron's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Is she gonna get free?
An alien vampire?
10,000 years
She's
old.
vampire-esque. She was also made. Like,
Oh.
that's why she and, well, I guess you haven't got to that, but like she and Nesta have this weird connection to each other because they were both kind of created by.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Because Nesta got more power or something
Yeah,
from
like
the cauldron.
and it's like made with a capital M. Made.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and
By the cauldron? Is that the implication?
Yeah. Well, Amryn's like really old. Like she's been around
10,000
since-
years.
Yeah, since like before the Prithian existed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Whenever then the book was written in the language that only she could read, And then it like clicked that Reese knew that. And he was like, oh, I was hoping that you could read this and that it would set you free too. And it's like, oh my God, Reese, you're the hero
Jesus
of all heroes.
Love him. Perfect angel.
Reese for president.
And Amren, I don't fully understand what her power is, but
Drinking lots of blood.
People are scared of her, and like,
Well, she's scary. I'm scared of her for sure.
She's scary. And like, you do get some kind, like in the third book, you do get like kind of a taste of what she can do, but I still don't fully understand. It's like, what are you doing?
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, then what about more? What is more specific? I mean, besides being badass.
So hers is like truth.
Yes, that's
there were
right.
times that she was like, I was like, oh, you're a mythical creature in a different way than I was reading. Like, I felt like I was kind of missing some of her mythology there.
3 times speed, yeah. There was a lot of mythology.
She's obviously like a very strong and powerful warrior, but her power is truth, and I don't really understand it either.
Well,
she's very beautiful.
She's
but
also
I thought that Faye couldn't
as
lie anyway.
What?
I thought that Faye couldn't lie anyway. Isn't that
I think
a thing
that's a
about?
myth, right?
Oh, is it?
That's
Did we
like
decide
something that the humans, the mortals believe,
Oh,
but
that's
it's
like
not
a first
actually
book
true.
lore.
Is that?
Yeah, that does never come up again.
I got a couple of. I've been reading some high fantasy stuff, so
nice.
different people have different takes about the
But
Fae
I do remember
qualities.
that now. That
Yes.
it's
So
like,
that's a myth.
They just let the humans believe that fairies
Okay.
can't lie.
In this, yeah. And so that was the whole, so it's like, oh, what they're saying must be true. And then that gets debunked at some point later in ACOTAR. And then they're like, that's not actually.
I think Tamlin tells her. He's like, oh,
Well, I
no.
don't trust anything Tamlin fucking said.
Piece of shit.
So more.
I'm excited to
is
hate
the
him
truth
even
teller.
more.
But why? I don't know. I just whatever.
Can't know
okay,
it.
cool, good.
Moore's
The inner circle. These
Moore's
people.
story is devastating. Did she?
Yeah.
Is that this book? Yeah. So she's been through it.
Well, and it's the virginity. All of this is so like parallel to our of course, fantasy is rooted in our reality. And so it's just, it's taking all these themes of, through the ages, ways to control specifically women and ways to overcome, because her story was that she was going to be sold or like forced to marry this Yahoo, this cruel High Lord, and then she fucked around with Cassian and did away with that virginity thing, the social construct.
It's fucked.
And but then she was never with Azrael, but Azrael loves her, obviously. I want more about Azrael.
I love Azrael so much.
He's so humble.
Yes, Moore was betrothed to Eris, he's the Autumn Court. He's the heir to the Autumn Court. And the Autumn Court is known for being pretty harsh and not... The guy who runs it now, Baron, sucks. He treats his wife terribly. It's a pretty abusive relationship that he has with her, and...
That's like the rule rather than the exception, I'm learning.
And obviously Morrigan did not want to marry Eris, and she knew that if she had sex with somebody else, then they would not want her. But the punishment was pretty bad.
The nail and the...
Yeah.
That was pretty...
It's pretty rough.
Pretty rough.
And, well, Reese was obviously pretty upset when that happened. But he has given Moore permission to kill Keir and Eris whenever she wants. So
just carte blanche. Just like...
yeah, just whenever it strikes.
Yeah.
Can murder them if you want.
I love that. We didn't learn that until like near the end of the book, I think, and that was so gratifying to learn.
Reese is like, no.
Yeah, that I think that it was when Moore and Feyre were maybe in the cabin at the very end, and she was asking her about it.
Yes.
And Moore was like, "Oh no, the day that he like got me out, he told me that I could slaughter them all whenever I wanted." And it was like, "Oh, yeah, good stuff, good stuff."
God. The paintings in that cabin.
I know.
Oh, I just cried
Oh, it was so tender.
while she was painting.
Because she got, I don't know, like the post-traumatic growth can be kind of, overblown. Not everything has to have a silver lining, like, but it does give post-traumatic growth and like rediscovering herself and healing and.
Well, also,
we love it.
Now I'm getting the order mixed up. She had learned about the most emotional part of this book for me, maybe actually, was the recognition of like when she was talking about painting her family home, like the little paintings, and she was like, I don't know why, I just drew a night sky. And then he like tells her later, it was me. I did that on purpose.
Yes.
It was just so lovely. It made me cry.
Tender.
It was so tender.
It's really painful to think about all the suffering that Reese went through for so long. Like 50 years is a very long time to be sexually assaulted.
Truly.
Sexually
kept
assaulted.
as they call Araminth as whore, which was a term that they could use. It was a lot. But I feel like learning more about like this is Reese, like he just gets to shine in this book because it's like you see more and more of his character and his motivation like as it develops throughout the book. It's like, oh, you did this for this reason. You were here for this it's just the domino effect of like, oh, you're kind and loving and good and you're strong. You're not I don't know. It just
Yeah,
I appreciated that.
Everything he does is just like for the good of his people. Like he's only ever the burden of responsibility.
Yes, the burden of responsibility.
Yeah,
Competence.
And, the part when he's telling Feyre everything, his whole story, and he talks about like he's like, I knew you were lying to me. I had your mind in my hands, and I had to hurt you, and I started fully crying.
He was the only one who believed in her under the mountain. But believed that she
only one who bet on her. That's
the
for
only
sure.
one who bet on her.
Oof.
Yeah.
Period. All right.
Magical. We're just.
The summer court is what I have next.
I thought the summer court was beautiful. I want to live in the summer court.
I love that whole scene. There's a lot of stuff a lot of jealousy happening in the summer court.
My brain kept reading. I kept reading Cressida. Who is Cressida?
Cressida.
I know it's Cressida. I figured that out. But is that from Mean Girls? Who is Cressida? It's some like teen drama.
Totally, it is.
Do you know this name?
Yeah.
Does it ring the same bell?
does.
I didn't Google it.
Cressida Cowper from Bridgerton.
It's the blonde. You're right.
I'm thinking of a different Cressida.
I'm thinking of the blonde Cressida that we hate from like Bridgerton season 1-ish. But it's Cressida is
Cressida.
Cicada. It's
Cicada. No one cares about her anyway.
Well, but the jealousy.
Oh, so good. So she's like flirting with Tarquin, and she's like, I think he'd be really easy to love.
And then Reese is like, you smiled at him. Oh, I highlighted that. I was like, yeah.
I loved those vibes.
Good
I
jealousy.
would not if Freya had been in a less fragile state. I would not mind a little side journey
With Tarquin?
with Tarquin.
I know. They seemed
I
like
thought their vibes
He's a
were
good-
very
beautifully
together.
matched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked them a lot.
Will he return later? Because now he wants to murder everyone. And since the
Well,
blood diamonds,
maybe.
you gotta do what you gotta do, defending honor and whatnot. But that, he just wanted to be friends with Reese. That's what I kept saying. He wanted to be friends with you.
I know. He's young, and he just want to be best friends with Reese.
I get it.
I know. And Feyre feeling all of that horrible jealousy when, like, Cressida's flirting with Reese, and Reese is just like...
But she's, like, making sense of it. She's, like, rationalizing it.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
And then, they're sharing a room? Or they were in the same room because he was talking about... He's like, do you think I fucked her for information? Because Reese would not do that after he experienced all the hell he experienced.
Yeah, that's true. That would be betraying his values.
I think that must have been really hard probably for Reese to experience too. Like I bet he could feel Feyre's jealousy as it was happening, of course. But then in his mind, I don't know, that must be like invalidating because I'm sure it was you know, like a bummer to him having done like 50 years of performing like sexual interest, and then he's kind of doing the same thing, even though he's technically in charge of it and like making, you know, he has more agency in the situation, but to be like having that happen in real time would probably be triggering. And then it's like, oh, my mate is pissed and I am
she's
like,
revenge flirting.
That must have been tough for him.
Yeah,
he has such a deep reservoir, you know, like he's such a resilient character, and I feel like he just has
the integrity,
endless capacity for Feyre, which is amazing.
Okay, so more of the summer court. This is when the first like big action scene happens, when Feyre and Amren are trying to steal the book from that spooky island.
Yes.
Spooky.
The spooky island.
It was very spooky.
I loved her inner battle, just like that she was considering.
Yes, she's like, just ask him. He's nice.
Yeah, that was I loved her integrity as well. That was a theme throughout, is just like, ask him. This could be fine. I loved the battle.
I also did appreciate Rhys saying to Feyre, you are allowed to socialize with whoever you want to socialize. If you want to fuck Tarquin, you can. Like,
genuinely,
I don't lay any claim to you.
Even though they had the mating bot, like it just, it's good.
It just takes such a confident part. Like he just is so. I guess he's pretty self-actualized, huh?
Yeah. He's got it together.
He said thousands of years.
I guess that's true.
500.
Yeah, 500. But the last 50 have been particularly rough, and it hasn't been very long.
The things that matter and things that don't.
He just is like, I don't know. He seems so healthy. How are you so healthy, babe?
He's very motivated by the safety of his people.
Yeah, well, safety and freedom. Yeah. Freedom was just this constant glorious theme of just if you're not choosing me freely of your own will, then I don't want you to be with me. I'm not going to give you any information that's going to cloud this.
Right.
And even then when, you know, at the end.
Which I feel like probably was a value for him all along, but then especially after the Amarantha experience was like, oh.
No, freedom is actually essential.
Well, we're definitely not going to even like come close to like a coercive or like a pressuring kind of vibe, which is great. Good.
It's a really, for someone in power to value freedom is just a really
interesting,
glorious little perspective there. Maybe there's a reason why these books have been so popular. It speaks to a hurting part of our souls.
The next thing I have is The Court of Nightmares in all capital letters with 3 smiley faces after it.
Truly, it does. So what for you, Kate, resonated so strongly about The Court of Nightmares?
So we talked
Tell
about
me
this.
more.
H and I talked about this a little bit at brunch. It's like, it's the trauma, babe. Like, Rhys, so it's the idea of wanting someone who's like morally gray, but he's not, right? He's just pretending. It's just an act.
He's very
still
good.
hot.
Yeah.
It's the best of both worlds.
Like, you get the hot bad guy, but he actually is like super respectful and
it does this like bouncing back and forth between like his actions, and then like there's this like twinge of like, oh, are you okay? Like asking for consent, and then like being naughty, and then like
and when he's like touching her, he's like, it's okay, it's just your body reacting, like it's okay, it's okay.
He doesn't want to put her in an uncomfortable position, and he didn't even want her to come because he was like, because he didn't want her to like see him in this manipulative like Court of Nightmares energy.
Yeah. And then, but when she asked, hey, I would like to go with you, he said yes.
Okay.
Because you have communicated, this is what you want, this is what you need, you're going to come with me? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not here to control you.
Wow. You get to come with me.
It's just that easy.
I will say, I don't enjoy the slow burn quite as much as you do, Kay, but the way that we talked about, like, the shields and their like mental, and it was always like I could feel him like caressing like
running a sensual finger
down
that was
bond.
very spicy, I found. And something about that, like it felt like they were they were having some play in the Court of Nightmares, and to be able to like
it was role play.
It was role play, and they just had the benefit of being able to like quietly communicate to each other, like, here's the presentation and the performance of this, and here's where we're centered and where we're grounded, and it's okay. And it worked, and it did seem super effective for the girlies.
It was effective.
It was super effective. It did. What did you tell the nail guy? It does the trick.
It does the trick.
I couldn't quickly enough come up with like a Pokemon like splash, like girl,
like splash.
Just trying to.
Yeah, my partner who has also read these books, when he read A Court of Mist and Fury, after he finished reading it, he came up to me and he said, "So I'm gonna try and guess what your favorite scene in this book was." And I was like, "Okay, good luck." And he said it was The Court of Nightmares. And I was like, what is it about me that makes you think that that was my favorite scene?
And he was like, every sexual encounter we've ever had.
He's like, because we've interacted in this. It's like, I understand this.
Because you had me role play this entire scene, okay? Like,
no, she's lying.
Yeah.
Please.
She's really not, but okay.
Yeah, we have a throne in our house that we have set up.
Yeah, well.
For this exact thing.
I see no flaws.
Little stick
and then you run
set
your
up.
fingers along his wings.
Oof. Eating it up.
I don't think that happened in The Court of Nightmares, but you get the point.
No, wings aren't out, right? In The Court of Nightmares, they're only out.
Yeah. Oh, I have questions about how we make the wings not be there. Because they're substantial. Like, he's frustrated when the wings, when he's in small spaces and the wings can't fit. So, like, how does he just make them
Wingspan is hard to
That's
manage.
how you measure. Yeah, he's
Azrael's is apparently the biggest.
Okay, yeah, sure.
That's what I've heard.
Such humility. But yeah, how does he just like tuck them away whenever he needs to?
I think it's a glamour.
Oh, okay. The glamour on her tattoo, on her. Anyway, glamour. Up all the.
I think it's like a magic. It's a magic thing.
It's a magic thing,
but they're always there. We just can't see them sometimes.
Yeah.
And you can like things can pass through. Okay.
Oh, word.
But Cassian and Azrael always have theirs out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They're Illyrians. Illyrian babies.
Illyrian. Okay, this is like fantasy sci-fi crossover here, but it was giving. What is it? Mandalorian.
Okay. Anything else we want to say about the Court of Nightmares?
What was the point of them being there? To get the...
They were stealing something.
The truth thing for the mortal queens.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the orb.
The orb.
Sure. The magic 8-ball.
So the Shadow Singer was doing his Shadow Singer thing.
I thought that was a really cool... just like, I don't know, like way to think about I like the whispers and the shadows. I like
his
that description
shadow
of
claws.
how his magic works.
Yeah. There are so many different varieties of magic. And I feel like, I mean, this is not my first foray into fantasy, but I feel like, are these typical magical skills?
I don't know why you're looking at me. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just here for a good
what
time.
are the standard?
Yeah, I've been reading some high fantasy things.
Okay.
And like glamour is
That's
definitely
common.
like a known part of like fairy
Winnowing.
lore. Winnowing.
It's like apparating in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Okay.
The no lying thing.
Yeah.
And I think they talk about other high fantasy series that I've read also like use glamour to like humanize appearances, and so there's a theme of like magical beings are all like, it takes all kinds, like they come in all different like types or whatever.
Oh yeah. But then they can make them look.
But they can change that very easily.
Oh.
So I think there are some like
Common themes.
kind of common, that I assume are like very old school, like rooted in like traditional like folklore, talking about fae.
It's so cool.
But yeah, I'll keep y'all posted as I continue reading more high fantasy
update.
shit.
Interesting.
Because have we kept track of how many Feyre has used? She's got winnowing. She's got wind.
She's got one from a report. So she's
got 7.
Yeah.
I think they list them towards the end as like there's still maybe I do love the power play of her only ever shape-shifting to pretend like she's got
Has
the
wings.
wings.
Yes.
Just to freak out Lucian.
Yeah.
I thought that was really fun.
She doesn't even like using that power. Like, it feels gross to her.
Which I get.
I just realized that I missed a very important plot point. The Weaver, I did not add into this list.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Weaver.
Yeah, spooky.
Spooky.
That was pretty freaky.
Yeah. I'm assuming Reese talks about what she's getting from the Weaver, right? In this book? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like,
refresh my memory.
So she's retrieving that ring from the Weaver. He says it belonged to his mom, which is true. But also, like, his mom locked it away in the Weaver's cabin because she said that whatever woman married him would be strong enough to retrieve it from the Weaver's house. And so he just sent her in there and was like, go get it.
Is this when Amryn gave her the bracelet?
No, that was for the bone carver, which is
it's coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that later when they were talking, they're getting ready for for a night out on the town. And then she said something about the bracelet, like, oh, Reese gave this to you. And she's like, it means nothing. It has no powers.
Yeah.
But you needed something to make you feel like you had powers. And that you...
A classic placebo effect.
Yes.
I'm not mad.
Yes. Yeah, whatever it takes to give you courage. But yes, the Weaver, that was to get the ring, his mother's ring.
Yeah, her wedding ring. She had to jump into that scary cabin with whatever that freaking creature is.
So scary.
Yeah,
I thought that
chill.
was very creepy. I was a little frustrated with Feyre in that scene.
I'm always frustrated with Feyre.
Because she, like, Reese told her what to do. And the instructions were, you're going to find it, and then you're going to run. And she was like, I'm slowly backing away. Like, she just didn't follow the fucking instructions.
Nope, she sure didn't.
I
And she
resonate
coulda-
deeply. I love every time Feyre's like, fuck that, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm like, I can relate. She wants to do it. She wants to fuck around and find out.
Well, she sure did.
It's freaking climb up the chimney.
Yeah.
The description.
And she figured that out, didn't
Ugh.
she? She
was
figured it out.
Just nasty.
I mean, she ripped apart her nails, but
There was,
She
you know,
ripped
she
apart
was
her
covered
whole
in
shit.
human hair. But
Ew.
I was working out whenever I was
was
physically, I was
nasty.
very sweaty and damp
Yeah.
whenever I was
Ugh.
reading it. And I was like, oh,
yeah, that was
human hair.
gross.
I could have done without that description.
And it was very frantic, like her escape. But that was probably also empowering to her of like, yeah, she did find out.
That's
Like,
true.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I love about it.
And
It's
it's
like the freedom to make mistakes. Just go, do your thing, fuck around, find out.
I like that Reese was like, what did you do? Like, this was pretty simple. Now this horrible.
I kept it interesting, Reese. I see no flaws. It's ballsy.
Yeah. The next thing I have is the bone carver. Very creepy.
Okay, so in the audio
Creature.
that I was reading, or the not the dramatized one that you read, but he had like he was a child, right? Like he looked like he had a very
To
high
her.
pitched, like sing-songy. Oh yes, but then to Reese, he looked like something else.
He looks different to everybody.
Yes, but it was like this sweet child asking lots of questions. Ooh.
I know.
creepy.
He's a creep.
Creepy, creepy, creepy.
And that they gave him the bone that she threw at Amarantha, right?
Ooh, is that what it...
It was a gift. Right?
Yeah, because when you go to the bone carver, you have to give him a bone as a gift for whatever information he gives you.
Sure.
And Reese gave him the bone that she threw at Amarantha. Yeah,
It's significant.
kept it.
We love it. It's as if he...
The bone
It's as
carver
if he's loved Feyre this
plays
whole
a bigger role in the
Oh,
third
really?
book. And the person that Feyre is seeing is significant.
Okay.
Like what she sees the bone carver as is like,
Oh.
yeah, it's a whole thing.
There's a whole point to it.
Yeah, unfortunately. I wish, like, I was like, I don't really need the bone carver anymore. I don't want to read about him anymore. I don't like him.
Yeah, I'd rather not hear. No, it is interesting though. H was saying this morning of just like, I want to go on to the next one soon because oh my god, there's so many
There's
details.
so much. I'm gonna forget.
I'm gonna forget all this information, and it's so much more powerful like when you're reading it through and it like clicks and it's like, oh yes, the bone carver, and then like, oh this is showing up again in this next book. So I'm excited.
Yes.
Yeah, I am too. But also, I kind of want to start over now that I know what I know. Like, I want to see it
Start
from the top.
A Court of Mist and Fury,
But
right?
Jesus Christ, no! Like from the
You
beginning.
No.
I know that's what I'm saying.
No way.
I just
No.
I
It was
read
like-
ACOTAR once.
Ugh.
Good enough for me.
We set the
I read
stage.
the rest of them
Yeah.
on my second.
Yeah, but ACOTAR.
I'd like some
this
more
is-
Nesta and Elaine. I'd like to like
Yeah.
hear a little more about their. That's interesting. Now that I know that they're fucking high fae, you're processing something. H.
Well, I'm afraid to say it in front of my dear sweet Kay.
Is this about Tamlin?
No, I'm really trying to like negotiate with myself of like, did I actually enjoy ACOTAR more because there was more smut in it?
No.
Like purely in its face
The smut
because I
is
didn't
not
know
good.
what was happening.
Boo.
I know. I knew
see
you
your
would feel this way.
point.
This is why I've
We're
been
here for
taking
hot
so long to
takes.
say it.
Give us
No,
the hot
even-
Like
takes.
obviously I like obviously
Sure,
it's better. The second book is like much more
ACOTAR
but-
walked so ACOMAF could run.
Yeah, but did I enjoy reading ACOTAR more? Because I didn't know.
An interesting take that
I'm not sure.
Kate doesn't agree with.
I know.
But
Even
the
the
smut was all
flirting.
Tamlin.
It's so
That's
gross.
true.
It's
It
Do you
not
think you
even
could
good.
possibly enjoy it, like knowing what we know now about Tamlin?
That's
Can't
true. That's a
unknow
good
things
point.
that we know.
That's
Like,
a good point.
Could we like go back and be like, oh yeah, this is hot, or would we just be like, oh,
Because it was also, I mean, I remember certainly at the time, like, it's very, very hetero
yeah,
smut.
It sure is.
Which is not usually my favorite anyway, but especially, sure, now knowing that he's, like,
An
an abusive
aggressor.
partner.
yeah,
A violent, non-human.
that might really
Not gonna enjoy that. Okay,
be the
good.
vibe.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad I said it out loud.
Yeah. I'm glad
we
and
brought you
talked my way
around.
out of it. Yeah.
Even
God.
if there
We helped
was
you through that.
no sex in A Court of Mist and Fury, like their flirting and all other stuff leading
very
up
hot.
to it did
It
it for
is.
me way more than anything in ACOTAR did for me.
Okay.
'Cause I don't like blonde men. We've just established this.
Oh, I
As soon as I
love-
learned he was blonde, I was like, no.
You did not
Well,
alter his appearance. You were like, no, I accept that
I
he's
was
blonde
like,
and I
I'm
despise
accepting
him.
that I don't like this man, and I'm hoping that someone else is going to come along.
And sure enough,
Yeah.
as the turntable,
That's the turntables.
a dark-haired man joined us.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh man, this was fun. I realized every time I read it, because I was making notes for our discussion and whatnot, and thinking and what am I going to say? And I was like, this is strange that they keep saying male every time. Like that's an
Yeah.
interesting way to refer to the man. And then it clicked. They're not men.
Yeah.
They're males. They're male of their
Species.
And so I was like, this is cute. Why does she keep saying male?
He's a good male.
Like, oh, that's and then I'm like, oh, it really is. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I keep thinking man. Damn me and my boring species. It's my bias.
Your
This is my
bias.
lens I bring to the table. This is my, my intersectionality is that I'm human, not fae.
The next thing I have is
Alack.
Starfall.
Oh, that was magical.
The girlies love Starfall.
The girlies love Starfall, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say for sure that I think that we can just have just a happy little polycule between Moore and Azriel and
Amryn.
no,
Azriel.
Cassian.
Azrael
Yeah.
and more.
So, Amryn,
the
they're
three
not,
of them.
I know.
They're just like dancing and vibing and
I
having
think those
fun.
three.
and it's a unit.
That's. Oh.
It's a very,
What's
like-
this face? What's this face, Kay?
I just have so much more information than you all have.
Well,
We may eat our words later.
Once
but
you learn more about Moore, you'll be like, oh, I understand why.
What?
Maybe she's not attracted to.
Oh, she
Men.
loves the lady.
Okay.
interesting.
Well, I like
That's very
that
binary
too.
of me, but
it was very like monogamous
Yes.
to think that like the assumption was always like,
She's
well,
gotta
Moore's
choose
got to
one
pick
or the
and
other.
She can't, and like no, the
Good point.
girlies don't
No, she
have
don't.
to
good point.
Look,
limit themselves in that
she don't
way.
gotta pick. And,
Sometimes.
oh, maybe it's in Silver Flames where it's revealed that like when Cassian, Azrael, and Reese were younger, they like shared women and like would have like
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh, a little
That's
fake
exciting.
they don't get a lot of
benefits.
description about it, but they just
man.
talk about.
Yeah.
It's like when we were
But,
younger, we were like
could
fucking around.
Could they like give a better description?
Right.
I'm curious.
In Silver
For
Flames,
science.
Nesta had so
for research
this
purposes.
this is controversial, but so SJM had a scene in Silver Flames that she took out that was a threesome between Nesta
Why
and
is
two
that
other characters.
controversial?
Well, it's kind of controversial that she took it out because there's like Nesta is having a daydream about like kind of being Eiffel Towered by Cassian and Azrael, but then like
why would we take that out?
it gets interrupted by Cassian, I think. And like she said it in an interview, she was like, "Oh yeah, I had the scene, but I took it out." And you're like, "Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that to us?"
That sounds amazing.
Rude.
Yeah, that's unfair.
Yeah,
These authors and the power they have over us.
it's like we wanted that actually.
Yeah. We need mother to mother. Sorry, Taylor Swift.
Back to mother to mother.
I know that's bad to appropriate Taylor Swift's name.
We need to go back to Starfall. We didn't.
Oh, we didn't fully cover Starfall.
Oh,
okay,
yeah, so
Amarantha
much to
can go to hell because the whole like she knew when Starfall was and like wanted to keep him occupied because she knew how important it was to him.
Yeah, that's fucked.
That was not cool. I'm also just reminded of the moon tat and the stars on his knees. And then she was like, "That's dramatic."
Oh my gosh.
What
Hard.
excuse me? It's not dramatic. He only kneels for his country and for his fucking
know.
mate.
Well, then
That's not
she
dramatic, that's hot.
responds. She writes back. They're little love notes. Oh my god! Did you
Oh,
write?
when the
I loved that.
can talk about that.
I did
Okay,
love
we
those.
don't have a point on here for love notes, but
the love notes.
were they? They were just
Well,
little
I mean, yeah,
notes
they're
back and
flirting
They
back
were
and
love
forth.
notes, for sure.
That was sexting.
It was sexting.
That
It
was
was, yeah,
That
it definitely was
a-
sexting.
An our world nod to sexting, and it brought me
100%.
so much joy.
So cute.
Or like when he sends
It was
her like
hot.
images into her mind.
Yes. Ah. Oh, the
what
powers
it
are endless.
actually turns out Reese is very,
Eat it up.
very reserved because he could have been much more aggro in
He could have put
fucking
so
with
much
her.
shit in her mind.
Yeah,
Kind of
that could have gotten.
I would've
Can
used
you
that up,
imagine
too.
the power?
Oh God.
The Daimati power.
Oh no.
Daimati, is that what it is?
Yeah.
The mind.
The mind power that he has.
My
Pharaoh
goodness
has it
gracious. Yes.
And also just it was giving like staring at the text bubbles, when she would
Yeah,
just
just
waiting
wait.
for it to vanish and then I would wait for it same.
Yeah.
That's exactly
And it
how
was
that
like, it took
feels.
so long to respond. Oh, and then she could feel his response. Oh, yeah. So good. So good.
But imagine not being able to scroll back and
Yeah.
look at your
Oh,
previous
that's
messages.
true.
I'm it's
Yeah.
sexting. Yeah,
It's
that's
sexting.
exactly.
I
what
also
it
love
is.
when she can hear his laugh in her head.
I know. She can feel it. It's so.
There's a scene in the novella that's in between the two
The
books.
Christmas special.
The Christmas special.
Oh my God.
Well, like I said, it doesn't matter except there's one really good sex scene in it,
Which makes it immediately matter.
and they fuck in their minds.
Amazing.
She says, "Can you fuck me in
Christian
here?"
kids have been doing that forever.
And I was like, "This is hot, but I don't get it."
This is hot, but I don't understand.
It's like they are having sex, but there's also some mind stuff happening. I'm like, what's going on?
kind of fun though.
Yeah, no,
Why not?
it worked.
Let's be playful.
I'm interested.
Speaking of fun and playful,
Oop.
one bed.
Wait. We're not going to talk about Starfall at all because that's the first time she smiles at him.
Oh, she wanted
that's
romance
true.
instead of
And
dirty,
the
dirty
romance.
smut.
They're flirting,
Okay.
and the star hits Reese in the face, and she laughs.
green paint.
and
that
he's
was
like,
so cute.
"Do that do it again. Do it again.
Oh my god.
Banging my head on the
Okay,
wall.
that's true.
That was really
That's
darling.
true, and it's so safe to be able to play.
Yes.
And to celebrate and to just like have a fun vibe.
Because it's a celebration.
healing.
I love that they all like kept it a secret from her, like didn't tell her anything about it because they're like, we want you to be surprised.
And she was.
And then she got to enjoy
Really
it with Reese.
cute. Yeah.
They
and
fell in love, which set the stage beautifully for.
the one bed. Yeah, so that's kind of when she, isn't that when she realizes, she's like, oh, I think I love this man, this male.
Oh my god, the male. I was like, why do we keep saying male? Yeah,
Is it?
whenever they walk into, I don't fucking know. Whenever they walk
I think
into
it
the
is.
inn, and it's like, and he said, I asked for 2 beds. I again was at Howard's, and I was like, one bed. It's one bed. It's one bed. And there's only like one middle-aged white man down the hall, but I was like to myself quietly going, there's one bed. One bed. There's one bed.
One bed. Yeah, so they have to stay at this inn.
Whoops.
Oopsie.
Oop, when they're traveling.
And it's really cold.
Yeah, it's so cold
So
in there.
cold.
However, are they going to stay warm?
She says we have to use our body heat. I've done it with my sisters before. It's no big deal.
Yeah, we're just like friends.
Super easy to do. No big deal.
We're just pals. This room, though, he responds with, this room is barely large enough for my wings, and I want to, something about fucking you appropriately,
Yep.
or as I've wanted to.
Yep.
It was just right.
Yeah. So he says, I am not going to fuck you until I can spread you out on the table like my own
Okay.
personal feast.
So that's what I was trying to reference
Yes.
there.
No, I remember.
Well, it's
Thank
in
you.
your text messages, Kay, because I
read it and
I
died?
was having some stims. I just needed to
You perished?
direct my energy to Kay.
Yes,
Because I was
she-
like,
H messaged me. She's like, "What bed?" Yeah. And
It was so hot.
we I can pull up our conversation.
Oh, please do a live retelling.
Oh, no.
Also, this is because I was really behind and I
It's
didn't want to
true.
give spoilers,
I
which was
didn't
very
wanna-
thoughtful. Yes, but now I love getting updated.
Okay, the one before it is wing play, all capital letters. That's
Wing play.
Okay, bitch, all capital letters. We just ran into Lucian in the forest with the whatever the groaning emoji is, and I swear to God, this isn't about to be a one bed scene in this end with like 7 of these chefs. Italian men.
This is not an audio.
And I said, you're about to
visual.
be so happy. And then she sent 3 little party emojis. And I said, let me know when Reese says the thing. You'll know.
You'll know what I mean.
Not split out on the table like his own personal feast. A melting emoji.
The tongue. Then he kisses her, and then it's like he lets me know exactly what he can do with that
Oh,
tongue.
absolutely.
My God.
And then I
Okay.
said, Reese kneels for no one but his city and his lady. And then I sent 4 peach emojis with something with a little arrow that says me shaking my ass.
Magic. It was, and that is a great example of like, you know, pleasuring the lady.
mm-hmm.
She comes to completion. She's happy.
And she's safe, and she's comfortable, and she's taken care of.
For the first
and
time
like,
she sleeps and doesn't have nightmares.
and he doesn't either.
They snuggle.
Beautiful.
It's because the mating bond. It's because they're meant to be together.
Yeah. Though I
My
did
God.
get like kind of
Are you
mad
getting
at
a little?
I did. Yeah.
Did you get a little
Yeah,
chilly
I
over
did.
there?
I welled up,
Oh.
listeners. I'm filled with emotion over their love.
I did get kind of mad at Feyre in the scene for telling Reese she only wants a release. I was like, are you fucking serious?
Okay, so we don't have to play cool. Like,
I'm
we
like,
get that it's
yeah.
protective.
We're done playing cool.
He
Like,
loves you.
she
the
I
frustration.
just realized that she loved him, and she was like, just for fun. No.
Well, it's protective. So she's telling herself.
Feyre gets on my damn nerves.
I'm here for Farrah. I resonate truly, but I do see how she's downplaying all of this. It's very protective. We get it. We get a downplay.
Nope.
But you know what? Folks pay me to tell them what, like, the subtext of what they're actually thinking and feeling. So like you can. I'm hearing that you're wanting to downplay your feelings for Reese. But how about we just call a duck a duck?
And it's like this whole time he has not been misleading. Like he's like been saying over and over again, like, I would die for you. Like, I love you. He hasn't been saying I love you, but, like, in everything he said, like, if anyone ever touched you, I would kill them. Like,
Yeah.
who did this to you?
Well, Tamlin said the same fucking thing, and so she's been
it ain't the same.
gaslit.
That's what I was gonna
Thank
say.
you.
Is I think that because Tamlin was so aggro, like, where Reese is very, like, respectful and giving her space and autonomy and power, she's like, oh, this is ambivalent.
Yes, she misreads it.
Yeah,
which y'all,
she
the
thinks
trauma.
that love is love bombing, and it's not.
She doesn't understand
She
that his empowerment of you and his like honoring of consent, and like that's actually because he respects you and cares for you and prioritizes your wellness over his satiation, sexual satisfaction. Yeah, it's.
But
something
she's
to be
only
noted.
ever, not only ever, because we
she was
talked
with her little
last time about
farmer
the
boy.
farmer boy, which was great.
Good for
but
her.
it was also casual and not like a romantic thing. And so
Yeah, Tamlin was
it's only
really-
Tamlin. And he was so aggro. And it's like that thing of like when you live in chaos and then things calm down, you're like, oh, this isn't. What's missing?
We
like
long
this isn't
for the familiar.
right.
What is
Yeah.
familiar is not always what's
Yeah.
safe, and what's unfamiliar is not always what's unsafe. Reese is terribly unfamiliar. He's being respectful and shit, and protective and romantic and sexting. He's doing
And
all
she
right
doesn't.
things.
She's like, he doesn't even like me.
That's such a good example of what like trauma and like shitty past relationships will do to you, because you misread healthy social cues,
Totally.
healthy relational,
Totally.
and you downplay it. It doesn't seem
Like
real.
he thought that he was like pushing up to that line as much as he could respectfully.
Yeah,
I feel
because she hadn't
Reese
given the
was.
go-ahead.
And so he's like, well, I'm putting my shit out there, and if she doesn't want that, then that's so important for me to respect. And meanwhile, she's just like,
He doesn't
well,
want me.
I guess he hates me.
Because he's not locking me in a capsule.
Yeah, and because he's not like making advances to me in front
not
of
being a
whole
creepy-
yeah, like it just didn't even register for her.
That he actually like loves her.
But
Wow.
doesn't she have this like
That's a good point.
realization at some point? It's like, wait, the villain of the story is the one who locks people away.
Totally.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved that.
That was pretty early, I
Yeah,
think.
and Reese is like not doing that. Like,
Yeah.
you live here. You can do whatever you want.
He wanted to empower her.
Well, maybe I think there was also because like Reese was so beloved among his people in his community that I think she also was like, oh, he just is a decent guy. Like, this isn't anything about me.
Yes.
Like, I'm not special. I'm just impressed by this like amazing person who clearly like cares about people.
Yeah.
That it would be fun to read this again, because
That's what I'm saying.
the downplay it is so true to life. Like that is how we
Yeah.
rationalize.
Yep.
Like, oh, this couldn't possibly be healthy because I've seen what's unhealthy. Like this couldn't possibly be right. He couldn't possibly love me because he's like being respectful and shit. What would that even? I'm interested. I'm really curious how she's going to do with Tamlin
Oh God.
being back with him.
I think it's going to be really hard because I think she's been really flexing these like independent muscles.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the scene in the woods when she stands up to Lucian and Reese is just like backing her, like he's
Not rescuing.
intervening. Yeah, he's just backing her up. She was letting it like, I don't know, she was very assertive, which is hard to do when you're a trauma baby.
She's a fox in a hen house or whatever
So,
the
and I
chicken
think
coop.
that Tamlin is going to be super triggered by that. I think he's going to really.
Tamlin's not going to
hate
quite know
that.
what to do
Yeah.
about that now, is he?
I'm afraid it's going to.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Do you think Tamlin's going to be a little uncomfortable?
Oof.
Wow, that would be really tough for him. Poor guy. One can only hope.
Fingers crossed. Get him out of here.
Okay, the next thing I have is the cereal.
Yes, we trapped him again.
I was excited to run into the
Love the
cereal.
cereal.
I know.
I like their
yeah.
vibes.
I
I
love
was like, I
the
know
cereal.
who this is. This
Yeah.
is a callback from Akadar. Yeah, that was, the truth of it all. It kind of started hitting her.
Stay with the High Lord. What was confusing about that, Feyre?
Yeah. Oh, stay with the High Lord. Wait,
That's what the cereal told her in the first book.
but he meant
He meant Reese.
Oh, I didn't catch that in my very quick read.
Yeah. And she was like, what?
Shit.
I think I hadn't thought about this while I was reading it, obviously, because I didn't know yet. But now I'm rethinking her, like, being able to find Reese in the forest, like the way she described going into this very, like, instinctual state. That was the mating bond. Like, she slid into the mating bond and, like,
It's like
was
I could
able
feel him.
to... I don't know, like, kind of transcend herself a little bit, because I think he was the one who maybe brought some of those, like, tracking skills. Like, I know she could, like, hunt and track and do her things, but something about that connection between the two of them.
And it only worked whenever she was able to stop tapping into, like, the head knowledge of how to hunt and how to find and how to, those skills, and then tapped into her, y'all, trauma babies listening, tapped into her gut, her intuition. And she, instead of following what she knew and what she thought, she followed what she understood and felt and believed in her gut. And that is how she was led to the truth. So, for those of you who are wondering if you can trust yourself, if you can trust your gut, if I don't know what to do, well, maybe tap into a deeper knowing.
That's right.
The cereal helped her.
I mean, the cereal spills that tea.
The cereal did spill that.
She was doing a devastate.
Yeah. And I was pissed. I'm like, what do you mean you're devastated? Your mate is the High Lord.
Didn't lie, or Reese lied to her and didn't tell her. Well,
he didn't lie
by omission.
I'm mad at Feyre. Look, if
you sure are mad at Feyre.
If I find out that Reese, the High Lord of the Night Court, is my mate, I'm not pissed. I'm like, great. This worked out really well.
Thumbs up. Well,
this has worked out really well for me.
That's the difference between you and someone who's been locked against their consent, because she's like, no, I need the information to feel safe and to be able to trust you. I don't trust shit. Like, I need to know. And you said that you weren't going to lie, or that you were going to withhold things from me, and you did. He had good reasons.
Spent the whole book showing her that he is someone to be trusted and someone that is safe. And she already knew that she loved him. So what's the problem? Like, you know you love this person.
I see your point.
So why are we...
She just got lost in the sauce for a minute. That was all it was.
It's just for the trauma.
She got lost in the traumatic sauce.
It's the trauma. It's the, I thought I could trust you, and now there's this one... like omission that flips, like it's the overreaction of trauma.
I mean, that's totally my experience of trauma as a real human.
Do something like this.
Yeah, God, I feel like I just did this like yesterday. Like, you just get swept up in one little detail that you can latch onto that allows you to like retell the whole story of reality.
I resonate with what you're saying, because the other day, Jay did something, and that's what got us onto, I went on a whole diatribe about everything and how I'm doing the best that I can, damn it! And he was just like, I was just saying, maybe you should make those returns. And I'm like, that's not the point! So, I get it, I do, and yes, it was an overreaction.
Totally.
Of course, but she needed the autonomy and agency to go... Is it the House of Wind is the name of, oh God, I love that place.
I love it
She
too.
Needed the safety to go figure this out for herself and listen back to her gut.
Yep.
Very good, very good.
Yep. I loved that.
So, I mean, she heals him with her blood, which is gross.
Ooh, that blood thing is very interesting.
Yeah.
That's also a very consistent high fantasy fae.
There's a lot of blood. I'm very vampire.
Yeah, she comes in like real pissed and is like, here, drink my fucking blood.
Oh yeah, I love that she's angry with him. She's like, I found you, but listen here, bud.
I liked that.
And then forces him to winnow her out.
And then he can't even get to the house. She's like, I'm not talking to you.
Gosh.
And then
It
was a hissy fit.
So dramatic. She just had a little tantrum.
I was into it though, because I'm like,
me too.
Have a personality, exert your autonomy.
Absolutely.
And Reese was just like, I'm sorry that you're hurting, but like also, I'm not okay. Go process this shit. So good.
Yeah.
I bet he liked it too. Like, despite being on the brink of fucking death, like I bet he was like, fuck yeah.
That's my bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a free will.
Be pissed.
Yeah, have feelings. I support you in them. And when you're
Shove
ready
your
to talk,
slit wrist into my mouth. I bet he loved that. The girlies are gagging.
so good. Yeah, he supported her her tantrum, and that is also what Jay does. He says, "I'm just going to sit here and listen." That's the wisdom of many years.
The next thing I have is the House of Wind pre-Reese arriving.
Yes. This is where the beautiful paints. And a good point here that I'm just making the connection on. Everybody's like, or Tamlin was like, you gotta paint. And then, she keeps having these like premonitions of like she'll be in a scene or she'll be engaging. Like, I don't know when he's naked over her after the nightmare. We didn't make a note on that. But and she
I forgot
starts,
about that part.
I know, so good. She starts to like see portraits, see paintings, and then like sees the title of it. But then when she is on her own in her own processing of her own free fucking will, she finds some paints, and she's like, let's get back on this bicycle. Let's see what happens. And so she yet again she's setting herself free. She is coming back to herself.
Yep.
Of her own power and volition, and it's a trauma girlie's favorite thing to see.
Yeah, so she paints that whole damn house.
The whole house.
It's insane.
That is a lot.
It is. It's pretty manic. It's giving like clinically manic a little bit.
But like with the power of 7 high phase.
Yeah.
Manic.
That's
Paint
a
the whole
lot.
fucking
That's a
house.
lot of vibes. It's a lot of vibes in one house of wind right there.
Yeah, but pre-Reese,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amryn comes. Or no, more.
More.
Yeah. More comes in.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. Gives her the update about what's going on at the house. The next thing I have is House of Wind post-Reese with 3 little
Oh my
eyes.
God. Whenever
Finally.
Oh,
At long last.
On the table, no less.
on the
Covered
table.
in
Paint everywhere.
Oh,
Lovely
the paint
for
was
them.
precious. Dear God. I think one of my favorite parts about that was like he's at the door and he's yet again waiting for her to like sign off, like give the consent of like, all right, let's go. It's so good.
Love him.
I love him. I know, I love him too.
Yeah.
She gets to go hog wild on those wings.
She sure does. Yeah. That whole House of Wind scene after Reese gets there, I just want to inject that into my bones.
To carry with you always.
I just want to keep it with me.
Sure.
And
To access it anytime.
the part like when it's like the next day and he's like, this is normal, the frenzy that you're feeling. And I was like, I too am feeling a frenzy.
You two were feeling the frenzy.
Yeah, he was like, so please forgive me if I'm on edge. And I was like, okay, it's fine.
That was really hot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is interesting to me. As a scientist.
Again, just for the research.
Just for the research.
Just for information gathering.
I need to know more about what is this postmating frenzy.
You know what I like about that too is that it was a permission structure for some like pretty hetero coded like some protectiveness.
Yes.
But it was like not toxic masculinity
Yeah.
at all. It was like this is how this is supposed to work. It's natural. It like facilitates the connection between the two of us. But I'm not being an asshole.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just was like
Because
kinda
she didn't understand.
giving permission to like it's okay to want
me.
your mate to snarl at anyone who looks at me for too long, but not because you own me, because you really know me.
That's right.
You know,
Not
like
because he owns me.
Fourth reference.
Because he really knows me.
it's only that song for you today. I think that's like 2 of.
That's telling.
I know.
Anyway, something about the moon.
Something about the moon. Something about the A around my neck.
Oh, we love it.
Also, and then when they get back to the townhouse or where everybody lives, like Reese like growls a little bit at Cassian for like messing with Feyre, so you get a little bit of his
So
like
sweet.
inner beast stuff, which I liked a little bit of it.
A little bit.
I liked it.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I think it was a good, like, well, and this is her first time being Fae. She doesn't understand. So he's educating. He's saying this is how it works. Also, you can turn me down.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. The next section is like all together. So Hybern, Cassian and Azrael, Nesta and Elaine.
My God.
What a jam-packed...
The last 30
50
minutes
pages.
of the book.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So, y'all, for context, this morning before brunch, I was like, hey, I've got about 20 minutes left of this. And Kay was like, oh, no, that's the whole point of the book.
Uh-oh.
Because that's not landing the plane. That is the plane. Like, that is, everything that happens is right fucking there.
Everything is on that plane.
Everything, yeah. You got to get on the plane too. And so that's what I was busting through. So yes, it really did all run together because it was wow.
It's so much. That was what happened at the end of the last book too, which made me then, after I waited several months to pick up the second one, I was like, wait,
what happened?
What the fuck? Because it's just so much content, and then it just slams downhill for the last, and like everything rolls up together, and then you're like, oh, well, now this next book is going to be about something totally different.
It changed
everything.
Yeah.
Which also is what. Yeah, I get it. I get that that's how a series works, but
let's talk about what was changed. I feel like somebody gave a really great synopsis at the end. It was like, this is what just fucking happened.
Yeah. So Tamlin basically sold out the human lands to get Feyre back to Hybern, who's like the big bad. He wants to destroy he has issues.
Tamlin has turned into a supervillain.
Yeah.
he kind of has.
Yeah. So Tamlin sold them out, brought Nesta and Elaine to the castle where the cauldron is. And they're trying to steal the cauldron, or at least break it.
And Jurian.
Not
Jurian.
Close.
Didn't we think he was dead?
So he was
dead.
He is undead.
He's
been
dead no more. His eye was in Amarantha's
Oh, gross.
ring.
You know, have y'all ever... The Magicians. Have any of us seen The Magicians? This was used again. Okay, well, if we're going to do fantasy, we also need to watch The Magicians, which are also books, much darker, show better. The point is, eyeballs that are saved is like a thing that the Fae be doing that
for sure.
I didn't sign off on.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jurian, yes. The cauldron. Quick sidebar. What did we all imagine the cauldron to look like? I had a witch's pot.
A witch's pot.
But double boil and trouble. Like I saw like a Shakespearean witch's pot.
Dude, it's
like
style looking in my brain.
That's a fucking cauldron.
It moves. It's sentient.
She's walking around, babe.
It walks.
Like Beauty and the Beast, the bathtub coming down the stairs.
It's a black bathtub. That is what I picture the black bathtub.
100%.
It's got a black
it moves?
swirly something. Yeah, it fucking walks.
I think it was scary.
It's a sentient bathtub.
We don't like it. We don't like. You got to come up with some better higher power. No, like
not the cauldron.
Why are we worshiping?
No.
Not the cauldron.
This can't be it.
Buy the cauldron. Yeah, at some point this does get a little weird. Okay, yeah. So I envisioned incorrectly. I must reread.
Oh no, I think you envisioned correctly. Okay. It just says goofy.
It's just goofy as hell.
It got real scary. Well, and I didn't know. Like I assumed maybe that was the point. Assumed that then Elaine and Nesta would die.
Yeah, I did too.
I did not know that they were coming up to be fucking high fae themselves.
So yeah, the whole point was like because all the queens were there, and they're like, we have to show the queens that if you go into the cauldron, you'll come out as
immortal.
Yeah, immortal. And so
that's
they were
what
like,
they wanted.
An example, Feyre's sisters.
Wow.
We kind of skipped over also just the heartbreak of like Rhys giving up his deeply held and protected city.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we did.
We just skipped over because then it was infiltrated while he was gone, and that was brutal
Feyre
to
fucked
read.
up that-
Yeah, Feyre fucked it up.
So Valaris, how did Vera fuck it up?
No,
in a good way.
In a good way.
Oh, she
Feyre
defended.
Archeron, Cursebreaker, Defender of the Rainbow.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was majestic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole purpose of that is they were trying, because we need the mortal queens who are now immortal, because of war. We need them to be there, to be on our team. We need to have an alliance.
They're magic.
Because their war is coming, and so that's the whole point. And so Rhys, yet again, in an act of protection, sacrificed this city that he has kept. Not sacrificed, but he
he showed it to them and was like, "Hey, look at this!
I promise this is true.
I'm trying to protect this. Look at all these people, these innocent people that live here."
He was trying to get her buy-in, their buy-in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah.
And Feyre sent those fucking water dogs after
the water wolves
and drowned.
That was wild.
It was like dry drowning. That was fucked up.
Mm-hmm. I loved that's the end of these books. Apparently this is a theme. We just get real fucked up for 3 really solid chapters at the end. But yeah, I loved that instead of her turning into an animal, she shapeshifts these bodies of water into lethal animals.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Super cool.
Yep.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Cassie and Azriel,
oh my god.
Their wings.
Angels.
Oh god.
They're injured.
Can this be fixed?
I'm worried that Cassian's are beyond repair. I'm worried that his got too fucked up. But I think that maybe Azriel's did not. That's my...
These are Illyrian warriors. This is the whole point.
Know.
Illyrian baby.
I know.
Well...
Yeah.
He's going to have a whole identity crisis, and who better to put him back together than sweet, lovely...
Elaine.
No, not Elaine.
And
what's the
her sister name?
Nesta. Well,
No,
Nesta's
not
not sweet and
Nesta.
lovely. More.
No, his mate.
Whose mate?
No, Elaine is his mate.
Cassian.
He says whenever she comes out of the cauldron
No,
and she's
Lucian.
Faye.
No, Lucian.
Lucian. Right. That was
It's like, y'all know
Lucian
nothing about
left
Cassian and his mate.
Lucian
don't,
and
we don't.
soft sister.
That was out of left. That
Elaine
was
is-
wild. Lucian
okay.
was like, that's my mate. I'm like, how do you know?
Immediately he knew.
I need to know so much more information. And is her betrothed going to start a war over all I'm so curious.
So much to be considered.
Nesta could have her own series unto herself. Bad bitch.
She's a bad bitch.
I love her.
Is a baddie.
The cauldron took something from her, so she took something back.
Woo!
That was wild to read about too.
Yeah.
Like the description of Nesta
Pointing
coming
at Hybern with
Yeah.
her death finger. The last person that Nesta pointed at is not alive anymore.
Yeah. I'm
She's
fascinated.
a scary bitch.
Love her.
And
She's
I like
angry.
her. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. She adds a good. These 3 sisters. I did not see Nesta and Elaine coming back in any way, shape, or form. The fact that now they're back and central characters in the whole kit and caboodle. Wild.
Yep.
Okay.
Next thing I have is the breaking of the bond.
Oh no.
It hurts.
But the fact, correct me if I'm wrong, so that was devastating. And then it clicked, oh, that was the bond, that was the promise they made under the mountain.
That was the bargain.
That was the bargain bond. This is not the mating bond.
No. So,
So good.
yeah, they did a bit, apparently they did a good job of hiding the mating bond.
Gorgeous.
And he just mistook the bargain that they had for the mating bond. But when I read it the first
Should have
time,
looked like a bond.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's breaking the bond. I really thought that it was.
And I think that didn't they both portray it that way? The whole
well, they
point.
both scream. It probably still hurt, but they both.
Yeah.
Rhys was. Yeah, he put on a good show.
They both were portraying it as if this was their... Because she was like, this is the ultimate sacrifice. I will do this crazy-ass thing if you will let everyone go free.
Yeah.
And so that was the whole,
And snaps for Feyre for putting on the performance of a lifetime.
Yes!
And being like, I'm free. My mind is now free of his power.
Yes, I loved that. When
So
Lucian and
smart.
Tamlin
Yeah.
just oh, thank God.
They're like, what have you done, Rhys?
I was captured.
I'm so innocent.
So
He
good.
controlled my mind.
And then I love, at the last part, Lucian was like, there's something's up here.
Yeah.
All right, there's something up.
There's something up.
I was so nervous in that whole exchange because obviously we knew that Pharaoh was faking that part.
Sure.
But because we didn't learn about the whole high queen of it all until later. I
Yes.
really thought that she was back on her trauma bullshit of like, I guess I'm just gonna sacrifice myself
Yeah. Oh,
you
and
thought
I'm
it
not
was-
like, I thought it was real.
No, I did too. It was
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
oh, she will do this. This is some Reese shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to fall on my sword to protect those I love. Like, no one good turn deserves another. It made me very angry.
Yeah.
Well, she
But
even
then-
said earlier in the book, if Tamlin wants to go to war just to get me back, I'm going back. It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
She was like, this would
I'm
be
not-
stupid. I'll
Yeah.
sacrifice my
Yeah,
happiness
so it's
for-
like, yeah, she would have done that.
they
for
will
sure.
both do anything for peace.
And even with, I thought it was believable even with like the mating bond in place because
Well, sure, she could just resist that.
yeah,
and,
just
yeah.
So people, yeah, I mean, they say people like reject the mating bond sometimes.
Yeah. It must be unpleasant. Yeah, the next point here, the High Lady of the Night Court.
The High Lady of the Night Court.
It was giving like Vegas marriage. Like, let's go get married by Elvis. No one can know. Like,
Yeah.
it was
An
giving like, let's.
elopement.
Okay, so some might call it an elopement. It was like, let's go do, just like before we go.
Before we go,
to go see the hot bathtub.
I'm gonna make
Let's
you the
go.
queen of my land.
And the description, it was, what was it? It's like the queen, ruler of all, like as my equal.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, not mate, not consort, not wife.
I got goosebumps.
High Lady of the Night Court.
That was so good.
And Amryn says, like, not in her whole life had she ever
Known
seen.
Ever seen the partner of
Yeah.
the High Fae to be, or the High Lord to be an equal? No, it was like not by my, or something like by my side. Is how he described it. It was gorgeous.
Yes. And then immediately the inner circle is like, they're bought in. And
immediately.
more is like, so my High Lady is now surrounded by enemies.
By enemies. So now we enact protocol.
Ah!
We're gonna. I mean,
Ah!
and she's a spot, like the perfect, and she has the bond. This is gonna get good. This is not how I felt after ending ACOTAR, for the record.
No.
This is not how I felt. This is like, how soon can I download the newest, or the next one? What is it, Silver Flame?
No, Wings and Ruin.
That's the purple one, right?
Pink.
Aqua.
Aqua War.
God. Brilliant stuff. How do we feel about it?
I
Mixed? Multiple?
love this book. I
It's pretty magical.
think it's my favorite of the series that I've read. The other ones are good, but it's so good.
It's interesting because our podcast literally has the name Kink in the title. And so some might come to this series thinking that it's all about sex. It's really, there's a lot of foreplay. There's a lot of like sexual tension. Although I don't have sex till the end.
Nope.
There's 700 fucking pages in this. That's like 4 books.
I think that's the only con on my list.
Okay.
Like the story's engaging, the plot is good,
Character is great.
but it's the wrong holes, man. Like
It's very.
I need
So that's
more smut. I want it. That's what I'm here for. That's what I like. The story's great. We could have sprinkled it in. We could have been doing this the whole time.
we could have been having sex the whole time.
Who said that? Was that Book Lovers?
That was Book
Charlie
Lovers.
Lastra.
We could have been doing this the
Fucking
whole.
Charlie
We could have been.
Lastra.
You could have been doing
Yes,
this the
Charlie,
whole
you could have.
fucking.
You sure could have. Well, not
Dad.
in this case because she needed to recover from her trauma.
Yeah,
Whatever.
sure. But somebody else could have been having sex. We would have been fine with that.
Anybody else?
Literally
God, she could have.
anyone.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. I just am on y'all know I'm on a streak right now
Yeah, it
of
needs to be
trying
dirty.
to read smut, and it's not
Pure smut.
very
This
smutty,
It wasn't
and I'm frustrated.
sexually.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, on the smut scale, this is like a 2. There's.
And the scene that is there is great.
It's incredible.
but if you're coming here for the smut, this is
it's
not
wrong holes for 650 pages.
But I will say, like, any little TikTok situations I've seen about ACOMAF are like, oh my god, this is so good, insinuating that it's all super sexual, and I'm like, this is it's hot.
Sure. It is
But
like
this isn't
It's
smut.
so much for. I think that's why I loved it so much. Because every time she is with Reese at the townhouse, whatever, it's all foreplay. The whole book is foreplay.
Yeah.
They're teasing each other.
Sure.
They're
Sexy.
flirting.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, but it's like the payout is it's not much.
Well, yeah.
Yet. Right? Yet. Because I'm led to believe
Yeah.
So
We've been informed.
there's
that
more in
the
Wings
right
and-
holes will be more involved.
Sure.
Don't play these games with
There.
me, Kay.
Okay. There's more.
I'm doing a
smut
concern.
in
I'm
Wings
like
and Ruin.
1,300 pages in at this point.
Yeah, I'm invested, so there better be some payoff.
There's some more payoff in Wings and Ruin. However, in Silver Flames, the
Yes.
fourth book, that book is for the girlies.
It's just for the
It's
girlies?
like-
Okay.
You know, I think I saw a list someone had posted on TikTok. It's like spicy chapters in the ACOTAR series. And then, like, in the first one, it was like
That's a helpful list.
three
That's a good
chapters.
list. That's a public service.
In
Yeah.
ACOMAF, it was like 4 chapters. Wings and Ruin, it was like 6 or 7. And then the list for Silver Flames was like 2 columns.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
Okay, so
If
this
we've
is
got like an end, I just
if
want to be
there's
prepared.
a climax coming.
wanna- okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
If there's yep. You're welcome. Yeah, I think that will keep me going. The series is a slow burn
Yeah. But, I mean,
in a way.
the fourth book is not about Reese and
Anything-
Farrah. It's
Well,
about somebody else.
I need Reese and Farrah to have more sex.
Well, they
Yeah.
have sex. They just allude to it a little bit more than.
Well, we call that closed door in the biz, and I don't know how I feel about it. I just love that we
I hate it.
absolutely lost our minds over this book for this long, and then our ending evaluation is like, meh.
No, I reject that.
Okay.
This book is incredible. I understand.
Not at all, actually. This book is incredible.
It is this. It's if you're coming for smut, it's not smut. Okay.
That's what I'm saying for our listeners, for our demographic.
It is a fantasy book that has sex in it. It is not
Sure,
smut.
sure.
The plot is super engaging.
Beautiful.
If you want to fall in love with a fictional character, Resend is the perfect book
He will
hero.
restore your faith
Yeah.
in, well, he's not human, but he will restore your faith in people being good to one another.
Yes, he is the way I feel about Reese is like how high school me felt about Edward Cullen. It's like I am so deeply obsessed and like just
You full on fangirl. And you this whole time have been like, Reese, you're
I
gonna
tried to
understand.
tell you don't understand how much I love him.
Yeah,
You did.
I really understand now.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So yeah, for our NP, I think people will understand that. You know, ACOMAF is an incredible story, and yeah, I do. Knowing that on the horizon we shall be reviewing Happy Place.
That's right.
It makes me think that maybe we should sprinkle in another little, smutty.
Something really smutty.
Something really smutty.
We've come to learn that
For our
Happy
listeners.
Place is not smutty.
Yeah, none of us have read it
We
yet.
haven't read it yet, but I've heard from the sources that I have that from my
unnamed sources.
that it
People
is,
who've read it.
yeah, that the smut is lacking. So we'll try to throw in something that
We'll
has
pepper in some goodness.
some good sexy stuff.
Yeah, we need variety.
Yeah.
That's, variety is the spice of our sex life. So. The spice of life.
The spice of life.
God. Magic.
Magic.
Well, shall we go through our rating system?
Oh, we have a rating system. That's right.
Reese, what would we give him? He's the measuring stick by which we will.
What kind of question is that? Reese is 5s across the board. Streets, sheets.
Streets and
He
cheats.
checks out.
Integrity and sexually. He's streets and sheets.
Yeah.
Green flag, green flag.
Everything Reese does is a green flag in the streets and in the sheets.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
Do we have an evolved idea about Farah? Because in ACOTAR we had some ideas about.
Kmart Katniss, I think, was our review.
Mark Katniss is right.
But she's gone through an evolution of her own. So what would we say? She's a complex character. There's 700 pages devoted to Farah. But what would we say?
I respect Farah's journey, and I do not enjoy her as a person.
Me neither.
I don't need Farah to be my bestie.
No, that's fine.
I enjoy her mulling through her inner conflict. I find I don't enjoy it like sadistically, but I appreciate what she's navigating very much, and I want her to succeed and thrive. However, I am not like, oh my god, I want to read more about Feyre. Like she's my best friend, you know. I don't. I'm not fangirling over her. I think she's strong and
I think I feel
growing.
Invested in her mostly because of the like literal time investment, and not because I'm like find her super compelling.
I mean,
it is compelling, more. But there have been many other characters that I like more.
Yeah, and that's no shade on her. It's just
I don't really like her that much. I have more information than you do.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll change.
Feyre is fine. I think she's fine. I think she's not an interesting character. I think she just serves as the narrator to me. I'm not really interested.
She kind of is the narrator. Yeah.
I'm not really. And she got more annoying to me through the third book, and then by the fourth book I was like, I'm fucking done with your bullshit.
You were done with Feyre's bullshit. You were like, give Rhys to me. I can appreciate him.
I would treat him so good.
Yeah, that's I think what you're trying to say there. Yeah. Okay, we've covered Streets and Cheats, and we've covered how we're not a huge fan of Feyre. She's fine, exactly.
She's fine
as a feminist, you know.
She's fine.
I'm not anti-Feyre.
No.
We definitely would.
Don't have it pulled up.
Let our friends date Rhys.
Oh, absolutely. Please.
100. Could you please date Rhys? Stat.
I'm begging you all. Please date him.
And if any of my friends came to me and said, I'm not really sure what to think about this guy, and then described to me Rhys and how he is engaged with Feyre, and I would be sitting here saying, you idiot. This is a wonderful guy who is showing up with integrity. It would really frustrate me if a friend was dating Rhys and then responding in the way that Feyre did.
Right.
So, I
can identify with your perspective.
If someone came up to me and said, this really perfect, amazing person wants me to be with him forever, but he lied to me and didn't say that he wanted to be with me forever until just now. And now I'm angry. I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I mean, that's a pretty, when you put it that way.
Yeah, that is a perspective that I had not considered until this moment.
Are you stupid? Shaker.
Are you stupid in the shaker? Okay. That's the appropriate response.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I think we would definitely, we would want our friends to date Rhys, not only date him, but appreciate him.
Yes.
That would be
appreciate
important.
him and his burden of responsibility.
Oh my God.
Most of them, I think that all the inner circle gets the sign off.
They all check out.
Yeah.
The vibes of a good inner circle. I'm like, that's every good fantasy book. That's every good, just the friendship, the camaraderie. We love it.
Yeah. They have
loyalty.
The boys have an annual snowball fight that they do.
Stop.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the Christmas special?
Is it? I think it might be in the Christmas special.
I can't remember. Brothers. It's just,
I think it is. But yeah, they just hurl snowballs at each other.
Precious.
And then they also have a sauna, obviously. And
of course,
Feyre is fantasizing about all of the hot men that are in the sauna.
And some more poly shit. Yeah.
And they're flirting mind to mind, and Cassian and Azrael kick Rhys out of the sauna because he's fucking around with Feyre in his mind while they're trying to have a
they're just trying to relax in the sauna, damn it. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. They're like, get out of here.
I like it.
Yeah, the Christmas special.
That.
The Christmas special is so dumb and so silly, but it's worth it for that one really good scene. So
I'm into it. Okay.
I wonder if we can time it to where
we read it at
when is it now? Yeah, that's only July, August. That's a while.
Technically, right after this book.
So we can read it now.
We can read it.
It's literally 150 pages. You could read it in a day. I'll bring it with me to the beach and you can read it.
Okay,
perfect.
We
read
could do that
snow at
for
the beach.
a little extra.
We could some fluff.
A little extra episode moment.
Extra epi. No promises to our listeners. We can promise a review of Happy Place.
Yes, we can.
That is the commitment we are making. The other commitments we are making for our week at the beach is chillax and
Yep.
Eating food.
100%.
Yep.
Sitting our asses on the beach.
Disclaimer that the episode next week will be a little late because I'm not going to edit it.
Kate is taking time off.
I'm not going to edit it while we're at the beach. Sorry.
No.
Out of the office.
It shall be done. It'll come sometime the week after, but it will be there. for you all to enjoy.
Gotta giggle.
I know. Every time.
I know.
Every time.
Consistent. It's a service I do for our listeners.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening. We love you all so much. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, concerns, prayers, sorrows,
Yeah.
sorrows,
Woes.
prayers.
Any feedback whatsoever.
You can email us at ourkikikindlespod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on TikTok at OKKPod. We have gained several followers since last time. Icebreaker, people came out of the woodwork for Icebreaker.
Everybody loves Icebreaker.
It's an incredible book.
And, our TikTok, Kay works hard on that, and it is adorable.
Works hard.
I get notifications. It's like, okay, K-Pod just posted a new video. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm watch it right now.
I'm glad that you get notified.
It's adorable.
I've tried so many different ways to post the video of the Dick for the Greater Good.
Ah, yeah.
And
the internet wouldn't let you
kept taking
do
it
that.
down. I was like, dang it. I tried to edit the subtitles so it took the words out.
Put a hot dog instead of...
Yeah, I tried so many ways, and every time TikTok was like, no. I was like, I'm trying to spread a good message here.
Yeah, this is a service to the people, but whatever. TikTok's working against us.
Yeah, all right, that's all we got for you this week. Until next time, hello, Farrah, darling.